This might be the second project I ever made. It's made out of 2x and 1x and some pine that I actually went to a lumber mill and bought. I don't know why, don't ask. I built this back when those plants were just little guys, but they've outgrown their space, as little guys often do. And the wife wants a second tier added to this shelf. I don't know if this is a shelf, if it's a half of a table. It's only got 2 legs and 1 apron. I don't know. But we're going to build something to put the other 2 plants up above so they sit a little bit higher and give these guys some room. So let's get into the shop and see what we can figure out.
So once again, the microphone's not working in the first half of this video. As you can see, I used a highly technical hand drawing that I made. I can't get the SketchUp program. The only success I ever had with it was the Bible stand on my first video. I have not been able to use that program. It's confusing to me. I can't get it. I decided that I was not going to buy material for this project. One, because it's pine, and I don't have any more of that pine left. But I did have a pallet because it seems like that's a rite of passage almost for a woodworker, especially when you're first starting out and you don't know where to get wood or can't afford to get wood, and you see a pallet on the side of the road and you stop and pick it up. Nothing wrong with that. It's not my favorite thing to do, and I'll tell you why. Because I took it apart. It took me forever. I actually grabbed 2 pallets, took one apart, decided I wasn't doing it again. And just to the right of my miter stand at some point in this video, the other pallet is sitting there. It's going across the opening for the staircase, and that's what all my junk is stacked up on top of. But if you have the patience and you mill it down, it gives you a nice piece of pine. It actually matches quite nice. I'm doing this on a time crunch because I decided to make this during Holy Week, which is that week from Palm Sunday to Easter Sunday. And it is your pastor's busiest week of the year, and probably the reason that your pastor takes a nap on Sunday afternoon after the Easter service, because by then they're whooped. So now it's time to glue up the top. And of course, I don't have anything ready, like clamps or anything like that, before I hit record. I don't know. This is only like my 4th video. I'm still learning how to do it. But this ought to be a pretty simple glue up. These are, in fact, my favorite clamps. I got them at Harbor Freight. And there's a lot of complaints about twisting and things like that. And there's some simple fixes for that, like just cutting a piece of hardwood that fits inside the track, and it stiffens it up pretty well. It's always been my opinion that if you joint your boards right and you get a decent joint, you shouldn't have to clamp them. Oh, looks like the wife called me away for something there. But now I'm back. We're going to sling some glue on this. But if you joint your boards up and you have a nice joint, you don't have to put 14,000 pounds of pressure on it and twist the clamps. Anyway, this top is about 7 inches wide, so it's a pretty simple glue up, and it goes kind of easy. So just spreading her out there, getting my wet rag. Yeah, oh, that's a dry rag actually, doesn't work as well. And we clamp these in, and we're going to set that aside, and we can start working on the legs. Now, as I said, the legs are made up from 2x4s that I used on a drying rack whenever I built this rack for drying frames. And basically, I just cut the 2x4s in half, which is exactly the size that I need for this project, which works out great, so win-win. And basically, I'm just kind of cleaning up the edges here, taking off that round edge that comes on a 2x4, and no one really knows why. So, but yeah, so that's what I'm doing. Basically, I'm making them all square at this point. And the cuts, it's 2x4, so they go pretty smoothly, except for this one here that I'm slowing down. You can see in the slow motion here that my push block gets stuck on the fence, and it actually kicks the board into the blade a little bit, and it leaves a groove in the leg. So I'll have to address that, obviously. So I'm explaining how and why that happened here at this point. And I'm probably telling you it's not a big deal. Just be quiet. We can fix it. Basically, I'm just going to bump the fence in about an 1/8 inch, and I'm just going to shave that little bit out of there. It'll be just fine. Normally I say that'll sand out, but that was a little bit too big of a gouge to sand out. And so I make sure that my push block is not going to get stuck again. And just go ahead and cut that out. Seems like a logical idea. Seems like a simple fix. I think that we're going to see later in the video that it's going to come back to haunt me. But in the meantime, there it is. Yep, 1/8 inch off. That'll be fine. So at this point, the only thing left to cut as far as cutting material is concerned is the apron. That's that little piece that sticks down in between the legs and attaches to the top. And I have to cut 4 of those, 2 long and 2 short. And it's, again, pretty simple cut. It is pine after all that we're working with. And once I'm done with those, we can actually start putting this thing together. Okay, looking at my highly precise handwritten drawings, I know that my inset for where the apron is going to lie is 1/4 inch in. So I've gone ahead and made some marks. And basically what that means is that's going to set right about there, 1/4 inch in. And that just gives you a little bit of a lip there. Have not cut these to length yet, still have to do that, but I can't do that until I know where everything's going to go. So basically what I do is I set my legs at 1/4 inch in, 1/4 inch in, all the way around. The lighting in here is amazing. Not really, can't see nothing. Okay, and so I know that this space in between is where my apron's going to go, so I measure that, which is 3.5. Spot on. And I'm just going to go ahead and write 3.5. Okay. Should be the same down there. Should be the same down there. And I'm going to put a leg down here. Down here and that. Had to check the game. Pittsburgh losing. Penguins are not doing well right now. Not well at all. Okay. Knock over the glue while you're doing this. This is going to be 32.5. I'm going to write that on here. So, and as I don't forget. And now I know what my aprons are going to be cut. So I'll go ahead and get those cut, and then we're going to break this bad boy out. Pocket hole. Okay. See you on the other side. Here's what this is going to look like, just sort of a dry fit. Remember, funny story. Remember that one leg that I said no one's going to know that I cut it a little bit different? Remember that? Remember that? We can go back in the video. Remember when I said that? It matters which way you put that leg on. Because if you put it the wrong direction, everything gets out of wonky. It makes it wonky. So this is the leg in question. So I'm just going to put an X here, and an X here. That way, when I put it back on, I know that these two sides have to face out. Otherwise, everything's, that's the universal symbol for out of whack. Okay, so let's get this pocket hole jig fired up here and see what this thing's all about. This is a Masca pocket hole jig. Fancy schmancy. You don't need. I spent probably way more on that than I needed to. You can get a basic pocket hole jig and it'll do the same job. Some other woodworking YouTuber said, this is the one to get. And so I went and got it. Listen, they all do the same job. Just get a cheap one. It's fine. I started off with a kit
that I think was $20. It's fine. You don't need a big fancy schmancy one. Okay. This is all of our pieces parts. Slide this over, move my highly detailed hand drawing. I grab the two cheapest and worst working clamps that I have because I don't want this to go anywhere. And kind of like that. Kind of like that. Put this in here. Hopefully, I believe that's going to work. What am I set on? Maybe I should check that. Start drawing stuff here. 3/4. Lovely. Okay. I didn't get nothing set up for you guys before I did this. I didn't do depth stops. Come on now. I didn't do depth stops or nothing. I have no idea what this is set for. Must already be set for 3/4. Okay. Awful lot of assumption going on here, considering I'm about to drill a hole through this. You know what they say happens whenever you assume. Sometimes you're wrong. It's got dust collection. I ain't gonna bother. Here's something important. Make sure you're gonna put the pocket holes in the side that you actually want them in. As it turned out, we were correct. I think. Yeah, that's good. This way. We're gonna line that up just about like that. This clamp is actually a smidgen too tight and it leaves a little bit of mark, but that's okay. That'll sand out. Just like that. That's where the dust collection comes in that I didn't bother to hook up. Here we go. Hey. Pocket holes. Now, here's the thing. Nothing wrong with using pocket holes. You could build an entire table. We're essentially building a very small table. You could build a table, whole thing, using pocket holes. Wouldn't suggest using pine, but you could do it if you really wanted to. There's nothing wrong with the way this goes together, and you'll see when I'm done. It's a good, strong, it holds together. So I have a whole bunch more of these to drill out, so I'll go ahead and do that, and we'll start putting this pup, well, we're gonna have to start sanding. And then we'll start putting it together. That's next. Okay, now it's assembly time. I didn't sand it. Well, I'm just going to show you what we're doing here. A couple different schools of thought here. This is the one that isn't cut incorrectly. The other thing I failed to mention, put a couple pocket holes going this way because you got to have a way to attach the top. Big controversy on the old YouTube about wood movement. Yes, wood moves. We're talking about 7 inches of top. I don't really care if it moves. It's pine for one thing, and I don't care. And if it does, I'll just make another one. So I won't make it out of pallet wood though, I can promise you that. So this is basically, how am I gonna do this? This is the top this way, there's a knot there, great. I just line this up flush with the front because that's how the other one is. Pocket hole screws, there's a specific screw to use, you know, look at your guide. Once again, I don't have anything ready, just hang tight, just chill out there for a minute. Hang on, I gotta get the thing here. Okay, here it is. All right, we're gonna use the drivers for this. Hey there, driver. Okay. I think we're ready this time. Nope, probably not.
That's going the right direction. So this is going to be the top now. Pens are losing horribly, by the way, in case you care. If you're watching from New Jersey, I blame you, because that's who we're playing tonight. Now before I go ripping that thing tight, check her out for square. That's actually pretty good. Okay. We'll go ahead and throw one in the other one here. These little 3.5 inch pieces, I think they're going to be fun. They're going to be interesting, if anything. Okay, we're going to give a little snug-a-tug here. And a little snug-a-tug here. Yeah, see, that's not tight enough. Technically, I should be doing it with a drill, so technically. When have you known me to ever do anything technically? I mean, I'm working off a hand drawing here, you know? Okay, we're gonna turn this down. Hand test, that should be good. Get, there we go. I don't believe it, actually. I don't think so. I'm going to turn it up. This goes up to 11. I'm going to turn it up there. Maybe. Oh, I felt that one go in. Oh, mucho grande. Okay. Do the same thing. Where's everything out there? Yeah, oh. This is the X marks the spot one. Do you remember that one? Sure you do. So those have to go to the outside. Which means I have to think like this. Okay, that's going to go like that. Now, what's the odds that this is not going to stay? I was going to ask the stupidest question in the world. I was going to say, what's the odds of this staying here while I do this? Which is, you know, it's not going to, because top heavy. So I'm just going to kind of, again, get this one started. You see that moving all over the place. That's okay. All right. Sort of. Get this one rolling. Now we're going to be a little more serious about it. Clickety clickety. I like that. That felt a lot better. Okay, there's half of our deal. Sure, that'll all wash out. Okay, it didn't come together perfectly straight because I didn't do it right. But it'll be okay because when I get the other side on, it'll all work out. So I'm going to finish putting the rest of these together and then I'm going to sand it. It needs to be sanded. It really does, because it's ugly. So I'll finish getting this all put together and sanded, and we'll get the top put on, and which I have to sand that too because pallet wood. And so I'm going to go ahead and get rolling on this because, again, busy week, and I don't have a lot of time to spend on this. And the wife has been waiting on this for probably a year. So I need to get moving. Quick update. I didn't get very far. Quick update. Decided to lay this down so that it ain't going to go nowhere. And then, because the table is flat, I built the table. It seems flat. Anyway, it'll help me line it up and I won't have to worry about it. Extra squeeze on the cheapest work clamps that I own. Line that up. Oh, oh my. Oh, that seems so much better. Sure. Nope. That's going to have to come on a little bit, like so. That I like. easier. Okay, so here's where we're at. I have everything put together except this little 3.5 inch piece. And guess what? Not gonna work. It might work. I don't think it's going to though. I'm gonna try it. I have this little gadget. It's a 90 degree. I know that'll go in there. But then I got the big dog there. So we got a little bit of finagling. Things got exciting while I was doing this. My miter saw is apparently not cutting straight. So a couple of these got little shims in them, make it square. That's my issue. I gotta get a new miter saw, or I could have taken the time to put my table saw sled in because I know that it is spot on straight. I'm just gonna run these last two in. Let's try it. Let's get crazy and just try it. Maybe it'll work. We're gonna line her up. I'm gonna put a clamp on this, just to hold everything all nice and purdy like. Survey says not a chance in the world. I can see it already. That's horrible. Plan B. 2 hours later. It's one of those deals where you say, I know I have that bit. I know I do. I think I do. I might. Well, this one ain't great. It'll work. Even with this is still kind of tight. This is probably as short as you're ever going to be able to do and get it to work. And I'm not even confident about that yet. She's trying. I think I'm just stripping the thing silly. Definitely stripping it silly. Okay. Well, gee, Wally, what do we do now? Beats me, Beaver. All right. I'm going to go look for some more bits that I think I have.
Okay. Back in the shop. It looks a little bit different than what it did last time you were here. Truth of the matter is, putting this thing together, these little 3.5 inch pieces, was an absolute nightmare. It took me better part of an hour and a half to find a combination of bits and 90 degree gadgets, and it was still an absolute nightmare. 3.5 is too small to try and run a pocket hole in. But I got it together. You may or may not have noticed, I'll tell on myself because I can. You may have noticed I forgot to put glue on my joints. It'll be fine. For what this is being used for, the screws are going to hold it together just fine. It's going to have a couple plants on it. It's not a big deal. I did go ahead and put sand it and put a first coat of paint on this. I don't have the same paint that I painted the previous shelf with, so I found this. This is exterior paint. It's white. That's all that matters to me. I just need white paint. I stained the pine top to match, and this has 1 coat of urethane on it. Man, the pine just sucks that in. Holy cow. I cannot believe how much that sucked in. I am probably going to put another coat on that without sanding or anything because it's just in there. So I am going to go ahead and I'm not even sure if I'm going to sand this. Truth of the matter is, this is a really stupid, crazy, busy week for me. And I don't have a lot of time to spend on this project. I probably should have done this after Easter, but the wife has been on me about this, and so I need to get this done. I have a little bit of time today that I can put into it, but not a whole lot because I have a service tonight. We'll see what I get done. Maybe I can get it done by Saturday so that I can sleep well and not have to worry. In the meantime, I'm going to have to mix this paint back up because it probably looks like a science experiment you would find in your sink. No, it's not too bad. So I'll get this mixed up and I'm going to put a couple coats on this. The top is going to get as many coats as it needs, or I should say the base is going to get as many coats as it needs to just make it white and just cover up all the ugliness. The top, I'm going to put another coat on the top and bottom of the top. Let that dry. Probably sand the top. The top is going to get at least 3 coats because when my wife waters plants, she thinks that they're dying or starving or parched. I don't know. Anyway, water tends to run out over the side and get all over the shelf. And so that's going to have at least 3 coats on it, maybe 4, just so I don't get water seeping down into underneath of the poly. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get this mixed up, get another coat on it, and we'll see where we end up from there. Okay, time to put it together. So somehow I got away with 2 coats of paint, which is great because I hate painting. And the top has 3 coats of urethane. The 3rd coat came out really nice, and I think it's going to be covered nice, and I don't have to worry about it. We're just going to pretty much just kind of eyeball this. I mean, I could get a measuring stick out. I don't know where it's at. And I still don't know where it's at. Oh, I see it. It's buried. Coming out. Here we go. This way. All right, here we go. We'll get our proper measure on. Nope. Oh my. So nothing ever comes out exactly as planned, at least not in my shop. I don't know how it goes in your all shop, but nothing ever comes out spot on exactly how I planned, and I've just learned to accept it. So I have learned the art of splitting differences. Okay, and that is find a happy medium, because this thing looks just about crooked as a dog's hind leg. So in the middle, we're at 1/4 inch. In the middle, we're, hey, there you go. It doesn't look straight, but remember? Oh, no, I remember why. I remember why. I'm glad I remembered this because there's some things I need to do here. The window frame has a taper to it, and I cut the top to fit that taper. Ooh, I'm glad I remembered that because I actually want to move the base towards the front. Thank you for reminding me that. Okay, we'll just put an eyeball on this. This is the back. So I actually want the base a little bit more to the front. And I can explain that now, or I can explain it later. Doesn't really matter, to be honest with you. The legs are gonna, if I have it all the way to the back, they're gonna kind of miss the shelf that's below it because it was built differently than what this one is. So by moving this more towards the front, I have a better chance of it resting on the shelf that's already there, and that'll kind of help even it out. Okay. Smidgen more. Can't go smidgen more. Okay. We're pretty close right there. Close enough that I'm okay with it. We're going to have to take the measurement from the front, which is 1/4 inch and 1/4 inch. So 4 screws. This bad boy's ready to place. Where are we at here? These ones. I said earlier that I'm using pocket hole screws. There's a specific size for everything and type for everything you do. I'm not going to go into all that. If you do this, your screws come with a guide that tells you what to use for what and so on and whatnot. Okay. I didn't want to use this. Remember that? Remember that whole fiasco? Let's put it in here. Tighten it down. There we go. All right. This will be a lot easier than them end pieces. Holy moly. Click. I'm going to do a cattywampus here. Hopefully to hold everything in place for the other two. I don't know if that's scientific or not, but it makes me feel better. Okay, the only thing left to do now is to make sure the screws didn't blow off the top. Wouldn't that be a tragedy? Okay, yep. Oh, she looks pretty. Kinda. Now, when we talk, there is a known problem with this particular deal right here. I know that the legs have a slight wobble to them, which means one of these bad boys is different than the not the one that's not widthwise. Like remember when I messed that up? Not that one. Lengthwise, one of these is a smidgen. I'm talking a smidgen. Someone we know would say a titch off. I don't know. That's not me. A smidgen off, and I can fix it now. But the thing is I'm going to put it in place because maybe on the shelf upstairs, it's not an issue. So I'll wait and see if it works up there first. If it does, we're not going to tell nobody. Okay? You and me. It's a secret. Pinky swear. I've never pinky sweared in my life. So I'm going to run this upstairs. I'll take you along with me. We'll plop her down in place. That is a gnarly nick right there, and that's just fine. Just fine indeed, because this is a pallet wood project. Never doing it again. And we'll see what it looks like up there. So I'll see you up in the... Here's odd words you don't expect to ever hear. I'll see you up in the bathroom. So there it is in its new home. Now the guy's got some room to grow a little bit. This thing's not perfect, and that's fine. I didn't want it to be perfect. If I wanted it to be perfect, I would have went and bought new lumber and made it look all precious and pretty, but that wasn't my goal. I just wanted to use what I had in the shop. Because I'd rather be in the shop building things than out trying to find lumber somewhere. So, I used my favorite phrase. Don't let greatness stand in the way of good enough. This thing is good enough, and the wife loves it. Hey, if you like build videos, think about maybe subscribing, because that's what I like to do. I like to build stuff. I want to be out in the shop tinkering around, putting stuff together, and seeing if it'll fit. So if that's the kind of videos you like to watch, maybe subscribe. In the meantime, happy Easter season, and I'll see you on the next one.